some form of legislation or the business itself will come to terms with this idea that the cloud as a transnational entity will have to be dismantled. And this has been going on for some years already, even before Snowden. It was quite clear from the perspective also of European businesses, banks and so on, that we cannot simply use the cloud computing and disregard, where the data are stored. We need to be very, very precise, and maybe either build our own cloud or use national cloud services, or build up a European industry of cloud services. Many have seen that, in fact, Switzerland was the one who was benefiting very, very quickly from Snowden, because they have set up a whole infrastructure already well before last year to provide European businesses with secure cloud computing. So if you are working with an American company, this is very well known, your data will be stored in America, even though they say it is not, and therefore you are subjected to their laws and their surveillance, right? This is becoming very, very clear, and this is also now compromising big companies like IBM, who's been heavily involved in cloud computing, but also Facebook, and in particular Google. So Google has to now completely rearrange its services at this level. On another level, even more basic, what also needs to be done is to rearrange and restructure the cables. This has become very, very clear in the case of Brazil, and President Rousseff has, after it was revealed that like Merkel phone was tapped permanently by the NSA. She ordered an investigation, and very soon they discovered that literally all the internet traffic from Brazil goes via the United States, regardless where it is going. So even the traffic that goes, let's say, from Brazil to Argentina or to Europe, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, and it is this structural, it's not inequality, it's not, should we call it cyber imperialism? Should we call it, it's a very, very basic control on the level of sea cables, right? And those who are in charge of the sea cables. And one of the outcomes of the Brazil debate there was that they now really, really have to prioritize to put some of the cables in themselves, right? And probably that's only a good outcome, right? Whether these cables will then, be surveilled by the NSA is something else that can be discussed. But this is maybe also something that already had to be done, in the 90s. And you can also ask yourself, why the hell has Brazil, agreed that this is now the situation? Why didn't they invest in their own infrastructure, right? So that's another issue. And there's a name for this, and it's kind of a movement also. It's called re-decentralization. I don't know if it's too late, because some people say, well, it's in fact already too late for re-decentralization of the net. This is I find it nonetheless. I find it interesting, and there's also a debate for that happening on a conceptual level, and that is called the federated web. The idea of federation is also a little bit different from the original ideas of the network architecture. This is a picture drawn up by the Rand Corporation in 1981, just before this network, internet networking really took off, and this is often used. But in a way, what is failing, you know, is now a number D, and it is really up to us to design this idea of a federated web. A federated web is probably something, yeah, probably somewhere between A and C, I would say. So federation, remember federation, what a federation is. It's a 17th, 18th century concept where larger units volunteer to collaborate. So we have to understand that if we federate the internet, this will be a cluster of larger nodes, right? And at the moment, of course, and that's the tragic of it all, we thought that we were working on D, but we ended up with an internet that is remarkably close to A. And this is also, you know, historians will really be puzzled about this, because in the neoliberal cyber ideology, it's always been about B and C. But what we were in fact building and creating is an internet that is completely focused and driven by A, right? Why is the internet only breeding monopolies? This is the question that needs to be answered first before we move on maybe to another question. Yeah, so this is the idea. It's called also called distributed social networks. That's another term for it. Here you can see that they are kind of used in similar ways. I believe that distributed and federal are two different things, but then again, you know, the theorization of this is still very, very early days. So there are some people working on so-called federated wikis, but apart from that, there's not so much happening. And my contribution, together with Ned Rossiter, who's based in Sydney, is the concept of organized networks. Organized networks are, of course, the complete opposite of the weak ties. The growth, hypergrowth of the known social networks are based on the exploitation of the weak links. I remember what the weak link is. The weak link is the friend of the friend of the friend, right? This is where the weak, and then Facebook comes in and suggests a few more friends, up to the point I read that now half of Facebook users have more than 200 friends, and you really wonder, really have all the people in the world, you know, half of them have more than 200 friends. How come? Well, that's because all these friends were suggested to them. People didn't come up with 500 friends. No, they were all suggested. Like, would you like to connect to? Well, you know all that whole ritual. We've been familiar with that now for almost a decade. And this is how these commercial services have grown so fast, fueled by venture capital. So the response, I think, to this should be that we try to let's say cultivate and rediscover what I call the strong links in the whole internet. Let's say architectures of today. There's very little we can find about strong links. So there's also very little software that really helps you. Of course, you could say, well, this is all about collaboration in a small group of people. Of course, Google Plus has somehow jumped on that bandwagon. But then again, Google Plus is owned by Google, and this is, I believe, is precisely why it went wrong. Because why would you, organize something with a very small group of people if you do it inside the Google environment, where millions, if not billions, of people are active? So Google is not really providing us with a safe, protected environment. They want to, and I know, over the next year, they will come with a lot of new services, and they will make sure and sell you the idea that their services are safe and encrypted and so on and so on. But we know, because of their close collaboration with the NSA, that this is now mere, public relations stunt. It is not true that they have not distanced themselves from NSA. They have not disconnected themselves. So in a way, that is just continuing, and that's mere window dressing.